Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, Astro-Numerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. And as you see, featured is our special guest this evening, Miss Kimbaley Williams, in talking about business. But anyway, before we do that, let me get this here. Alrighty. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for joining us this evening. First of all, I want to thank Jazz Aphrodite for sitting in for me Monday. It's interesting about, I understand, the 55 Club, which she talked about P. Diddy and Fat Joe and Tyler Perry. I didn't know they were all 55, so now I understand why they call it the 55 Club, okay? Anyway, before I bring on my very distinguished guest, let me tell you, the show is sponsored by King Simon. He has, for this part one is doing in June, it's almost over. Then part two is in July, part three is in August. So if you want to be a part of the exclusivity, just go to his Patreon page, patreon.com, King Simon. All righty. That's good. Then we have Queen B, excuse me, Queen B with Numeralytics. And there's a couple of things I'm going to be announcing that she's going to have later on tomorrow, and features also Uchenna, who is the founder and creator of UJuice. In fact, he's going to be my guest on Monday, the 30th. And he's going to be talking not about UJuice, but a new concept that he's come up with relating to the numbers. Then also Nicholas Brooklyn of 1396 Fulton Street, celebrating over 50 years in business, and they do a tremendous business. And then also Miss Kimbaley with Manifest on Purpose, and also the fact that she offers a business service. As I said, for those of you who are interested in starting a business, you go to the bottom and just go to Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. That's KIMBALEY.com. And also last but Jazz Aphrodite, who is starting a numerology mastery institute in August. And before I bring on my guest, let me tell you that today is Wednesday. First, please like, share, subscribe. This is Wednesday the 25th. The sun is in Cancer. It's also a new moon today in the sign of Cancer. It's a 6 universal month, a 1 universal week, a 3 universal. No, it's supposed to be a 4 universal day. How did I do that? Okay, I caught an error. It is a 4 universal day. So forget those Sagittarius and Pisces. That should have been for Aquarius, for Leo, for Gemini, or anybody born on the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 13th, the 22nd, the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 13th, the 19th, 22nd, 28th, and 31st of the month. All right. And there's two things that's interesting. My guest happens to be a Leo, and she's born on the 22nd day of the month. I don't know how I did that. But anyway, things happen. And today, I want to acknowledge that on this day, 16 years ago, on the 25th in 2009, the gentle giant, I refer to him as Michael Jackson, passed away on this day. Okay. So it's just to honor his greatness. And after 16 years to this day, anybody, if you say the word Michael Jackson, they know exactly which Michael Jackson you're talking about. There's only one Michael Jackson. As I thought about it, as I was looking at this, I'm sure there are other Michael Jacksons in the world. There are Michael Jacksons, but then there is the Michael Jackson. So that's what makes the difference, okay? So we honor him. So speaking of that, I now want to bring on my guest, Miss Kimbaley. Kimbaley, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Hello, Lloyd. Hello, family. Peace and love to everyone. How are you?
I am fine. You know what's interesting, and it's such an appropriate time to have you on, because within the last about maybe 2 weeks, I've had people on that I've read, and they were on counsel, and they talked about, okay, when I go into business, what kind of business should it be? And I think that's because I think the President 47 has just gotten an approval for mass layoff. So there are going to be more layoffs coming other than Doge. And so when people are in desperation, the one thing that COVID did and whatnot is it motivate people to start their own business. So this is why I have you here. So we're going to find out from those of you who want to get into business but not sure of what business or what line of business to go through. That's why I have Miss Kimbaley on with me this evening. So please take full advantage of it. What led you on this path to get into the world of business astronumerology?
Well, I've always loved business, and when I learned the art of astronumerology, it just made perfect sense to put the two together because when we think about numerology and astronumerology, we think about it in terms of an individual or it's for the person, but really, whatever the number is placed on, whatever that number is attached to, it creates a frequency. So that can be anything. That could be your vehicle, that could be your home, and your business has a birthday too. So that is important to know because your business, just like you, carries its own special frequency. And just like you, it has a purpose. And when you can align with the purpose of your business, then you can set your business up for success.
The one thing I notice is that, we'll start a business, we'll have our date of incorporation, and whatever month, day, and year that is according to the state that passed it. But you also came up with the idea that there's a conceptual birthday and then there's the business birthday. What do you mean?
Well, not everybody incorporates their business. Sometimes, even looking at some of the biggest businesses that I've been researching, their incorporation date it comes many years after the initial idea, after the initial intention. When you think about the conception date, that is the date of intention. Think about pregnancy, carrying a child to full term. The
Hmm.
conception is when you had the thought or the idea was there or the energy was there. And that conception means a whole lot because it is like in the background of whatever that business numbers are, because it's telling you what the overall feel for is for this business, why this business was created. So if you don't have a conception date yet, you can use, I mean, if you don't have the incorporation date, you can use that conception date in order to base your business on for numerical um, analysis. So the incorporation date is not necessary. I know that sounds funny, but you don't have to have that business incorporation date if you have a conception date. But once you get your business incorporated, then that date is going to tell you the overall frequency of the actual business.
Do you think most people, when I started my business, a Star 8 and other things, I didn't think of actually when the idea came to me as so much as when I got my papers from the state. It said, now you're officially in business. But obviously, when did the idea occur? And I think that's interesting. That's like when the sperm meet the egg, so to speak. And then 9 months later, you come. So,
Yes.
so when you say it's important that people, when they come up with an idea, if they can try to remember, and which one would be more important, by the way, the day you brainstormed that says this is what I want to do, or when you got the incorporation papers?
Okay, they both have meaning. Let's think about how you explain like the double digit numbers in the Chaldean system. You have one definition in the background that tells you a little deeper than what the base number is. So it's just adding an extra layer onto your business. And one thing that I want to say about this before we go too deep into it, how do you come up with that conception date? That conception date could be the time when you're sitting in meditation and you have this thought to formulate this business. However, it can also be that first time you decide to take action on that business. It could be when you decide to set up your business email account. It could be the time that you buy your domain name. It could be
Mm.
the time that you get a website. The very first time you take action on that business is when the conception date formed. Once you get your incorporation date, that incorporation date is going to hold more weight than the conception date. However, that conception date, the reason why you set this intention, the reason this entity came to you or this idea came to you is going to be the backdrop of the whole entire business.
You know what's interesting? I think a little while ago, when you were on another presentation, you had talked about Steve Jobs with Apple, like the Apple phone, right? And can you tell us that he would go to an apple field, an apple pasture? Can you tell me about that? And probably how the idea occurred to him?
Yeah, well, I think that was to get his name. He was actually on an apple orchard. I think he went out for a retreat, some type of meditation or something. Don't quote me. It's been a minute
Mhm.
since I read it.
Mhm.
But the idea to name the company what he did was an inspiration that he received during this his stay at this apple orchard.
That's interesting. So, in other words, you never know when these things will come. Uh, Mine was determined by once I knew the name and it was 19, which denotes honor, success, and esteem. I says, okay, that's what I'm going with. And then a star, like a star in the heavens, and then eight is when you turn upside down is infinity. So that was my whole craziness. Now the date that it was incorporated was a whole different thing. But I just think it's interesting. And so what I want people to do, because we're gonna kind of go through all of them, the possible, well, what can I do? This is for not only business owners, but potential business owners that say, okay, I want to start a business, but what should I go into? Well, Ms. Kimbaley is going to use a presentation that deals with all your numbers from 1 to 9, the master numbers 11 and 22, and we're gonna see. And so then we're gonna open up the comments, see if it matches you, or for those of you who are thinking about, all right, I could be laid off, which I hope you're not. And so, but actually, some of these things are blessings in disguise, and this is how businesses are actually formed. Now, how did you come up with what we're about to see, Miss Kimberly?
Well, for those of you who don't know, I see clients, business clients, people who are just getting started with their business, those who are already established. But sometimes people come in, they know they want to start a business, but they're not sure exactly the type of business that they should go into. I know I was one of those people that for a long time, was questioning, what do I want to do for a living? When they asked me in school, what do I want to do when I grow up? I'm the only one that just I copied whoever was in front of me, and
Really?
that's the answer I gave. And I understand these people. And what I did was I was like, okay, I need to help them figure out, what aligns best with their birthday number and what aligns best with their zodiac sign. And the most important thing that I first say is to sit with yourself in introspection and think about those things that you love to do and start creating a list. And then you can compare that list with some of the things on this list. So the presentation that I have tonight, I'm just choosing the top 5 things that were on the list. There are so many other things can that would fall into play on this list, but I'm just touching on a few things to kind of get you started. And you can look at these things that align with your birthday number and find out, which one of these things is something that I love to do and it might help. So, long story short, just finding out that other people had a need to know what they really wanted to do. So I came up with this list to help those people out.
And before we go to that list, now, for those that are in our viewership dealing with the Live with Lloyd family, we're going to, don't forget, you're either a zodiac sign or a birth date. If you're not any one of those, I'd like to figure out how you arrived at what you have, okay? Because this is very, very important, okay? Because, there's a lot of otherworldly stuff going on out here nowadays, so you never know. I will ask one more thing before we go to a person's birthday so they can get a clue. What about a name? Like when Steve Jobs sold Apple, or somebody, Jeff Bezos, took Amazon. But ironically, you also, when I saw you in another piece, you said that wasn't the original name of Amazon. Can you remember the original name that Jeff Bezos gave it? What was the original name?
Yes. The original name for Amazon, believe it or not, was Cadabra. And the reason why they did not move forward with that name was because it sounded too much like cadaver. And
That's what
what
it
what
sounded
they
like at first.
it was supposed to be like abracadabra, but it didn't sound like that to people when it was coming out of their mouth.
Yeah,
So
like a genie in the bottle.
yes, yes. So they had to end up changing the name.
That is so interesting, the history. So
Hey,
I'm sure
Shonda.
so I am sure there are people in here who has been and by the way, for those of you who have questions about business, um, we will try to answer your questions about what you want to be. So I guess if we are ready to start, let's bring on your presentation and add to it. All righty.
Okay, so this is going to be the top 5 business or career for your birthday or zodiac sign. And I want you to keep in mind that this is not all of it. This is just really scratching the surface. I just wanted to show you a few things, but this is not everything. So we're going to get started with the number one. If you are born on the first attempt, the 19th or the 28th, or are a Leo or Aquarius, then that makes you a number one. And the birthday number one is best aligned with businesses that promote originality. And
Hmm.
keep in mind now, number one is an interchangeable number, it has a partner. That partner is the number four. So if you are a number four, you can also get tips from this number one because this also is your interchangeable number. So one can listen to four also, and the number two can listen to seven. So you're going to be original. You're going to do things that are different than everybody else. You're going to stand out. Think about the Leo energy. The Leo energy is going to stand out. You want to be independent, and you are a person that probably has a lot of drive. So, some of the best things that you can do would be to be a solo entrepreneurship. Get into that. Coaching, speaking, or writing. Those are some great things for the number one. Executive leadership or CEO roles, because the number one is the leader. The number one comes in number one, first place. So it will be good for you to be in some type of leadership role or doing some type of leadership work, and you will probably actually love doing that. You'll be good at a marketing strategy firm, because with the number one, it's ruled by the sun. So when you think about the sun is magnetic in nature. So you're attracting things to you and attracting things to business or attracting target audiences. So that would be a great way for you to go. Digital innovation and AI, and also business consultant, because the number ones are good in business. And Lord, I want to ask you, do you have anything to add to the number one?
Well, number ones normally are your CEOs, CFOs, owners, presidents, heads of businesses, and they normally do well in three areas primarily, which is law, medicine, or science as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now we're going to move on to the number two, born on the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, the 29th, or come under the signs of Cancer and Pisces. And what it says about the number two is that they excel in service oriented roles. Twos are good at providing service for other people or servicing other people. They're compassionate. They lead with their heart. These individuals align best with businesses that requires nurturing environments. Think about the Cancer energy, the nurturer. So you might find these people in careers or businesses that offer therapy. They may be in creative partnership, because number two is also the number of communities, organization, partnerships. They may work well in interior design or any type of spiritual services. So of the five, of the list, the five that I have is creative partnerships or joint ventures. Sometimes a
Mhm.
two can get further with the help of others than just going at things alone. It's easier for the two to get help from others, while the number one is more individualistic. And they are great at community outreach. Organization is coming from the heart. When we think about the two, we think about that water energy, their feeling, they're into their feelings, their emotions. Then we have music, art, dance, therapy. They could be a great chef or a great writer. What you got, Lloyd?
Well, that's interesting. I was going to say two because it's shaped like the intestines of the stomach. Normally, not only make vegetarians or semi-vegetarians, but they make the best cooks. You know how they say they burn those pots and pans? That's normally a number two. Okay. They also, I noticed, so they wind up being either restaurateur owners, caterers, chefs, things like that. And then I noticed that two people tend to do well in the mechanical mathematical sciences, IT, technology, architecture, engineering. And then another thing, there's a third one, which you mentioned, is definitely of service: social workers, counselor, psychologists, psychiatrists, you know what I'm saying, where they lend an ear. Because although we have two ears, you think people got more like two mouths than one ear, but that's exactly what they do. So, what about three people?
Okay, number three. If you're born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, will come under the signs of Pisces and Sagittarius. So, under this vibration, you possess a vibrant creative energy and are natural storytellers. And sometimes that story doesn't always have to be all truth. So, ideal business paths include content creation, entertainment, marketing, event planning, or public speaking. And this makes perfect sense to me, because when I think about three, I always think about, as it says here, entertainment. Um, I think about like the comedians. And then it says here, public speaking. But for me, I recognized a long time ago that a comedian is a public speaker. That's all they are. It's just that their delivery is different than other
They make
people's
jokes
delivery.
of it, right?
They
About their
make
delivery.
jokes,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that makes a whole lot of sense. So, number three, you can expect to be into the entertainment industry, film, music, TV, and I want to throw in here photography too, because I see a lot of threes that are interested in photography, fashion design, and personal stylists, copywriting and publishing, comedy and performing arts, and let's see, event planning. Event planning, and that's due to the creativity of the number three. So they're good at organizing, creating events, and things like that. Anything that you have for the number three?
Well, yes, threes are the comics in life, not only by their birthday, but the zodiac signs, especially Sagittarius, because most of the famous comedians are under the sign of Sagittarius. There's Mr. Entertainment. They refer to him as Sammy Davis Jr., born on December the 8th. Then there was Flip Wilson, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Dave Kennison, Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, it's a whole list of things. And when you talk about photography, Gordon Parks, the famous photographer, was the one who actually was the director behind Shaft, the first one that came out. Then there was Shaft 2, Shaft Go to Africa. They ran that franchise till it ran into the ground. But um, you know, but it's just interesting. But three people normally do well in government, religion, the arts. For example, a famous person connected with religion would be the Reverend Al Sharpton. He's eulogized so many celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
and so they have a strong sense of working for the government. A lot of politicians. So that's what I see with that. So this is fun. Now, this everybody is helping you find your niche, and then when we turn it over to the um, comment sections, then we're going to see if there's some questions that seem to fit you. If you have any questions, I'd like to direct your attention to Miss Kimberly. All right.
By the way, if there is something that if you're listening to this and it's your birthday number or your zodiac sign, and one of the careers that you hear is something you're interested in or something that you've already been working in, make sure you let us know. Give us that feedback and let us know. Okay, we're going to move on to the number four. And I'm going to say this, I thought this one was kind of boring. But
Okay, go
But
ahead.
the number four is born on the 4th, the 13th, the 22nd, the 31st, all come under the signs of Aquarius or Leo.
Mhm.
And it says those with this energy thrive in structured environments. They are meticulous, grounded, and practical, perfect for operations, logistics, real estate, manufacturing, or construction. I told you, but I bet you somebody says I love one of these though.
Yeah, yeah.
But the top five I chose for this one is accounting and financial planning,
Mhm.
security services, numerology. Now, those two are kind of interesting to me, I think.
Yeah.
Real estate investment, legal or compliance services. So, what do you have for the number four?
Well, four to me deals with the mechanical mathematical sciences, computers, and I'll talk about a four or an Aquarius or a Leo that normally they have some kind of affinity with numbers, remembering birthdays, remembering license plates, remembering people's telephone numbers. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, when the film of came out with Malcolm X, where Denzel Washington was portraying Malcolm, he was talking to one of the people who was writing the numbers runners. Everything was in his head. I said to myself, that person's either number four or he's got to be an Aquarius or Leo. He didn't have to write nothing down. And even Richard Pryor made it said didn't need a pencil or paper. Okay. Everything was up here. And they also do well in radio, television, technology, engineering, and mechanical mathematical sciences too. And I noticed that four people are very good with their hands. Next.
I'm just thinking about how I'm good with my hands. Yeah, I do like working with my hands a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit. Not hard work though.
yeah.
Just
But using your
something
hands, though.
simple.
Hmm.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the number five. So if you're born on the 5th, the 14th, the 23rd, or if you are a Gemini or Virgo, this is number five. So these individuals are energetic, adventurous, and adaptable. These jobs will probably be considered more like the fun things or these businesses. Their strengths lie in freedom based adventures like travel, media, fashion, or digital marketing. Fives need something that they can do where they can always feel free to move around. You know, just sitting in the office all day is not going to be a number five. So you got to be moving and doing things. Some of the top five for me is media production, film, podcasting, journalism, public relations firms, um, product promotion and brand ambassadorships. Fives are good with communication, networking, promoting, any type of communication. So, freelance writing or journalism could be something that they can do, and fashion and lifestyle brands, and to include number fives keep up with trends as well. So they know what's trending. They know what's in style and what's not. That's how we used to say it, you know, not trending, but what's in style, what's
Yeah,
out of style. You
yeah.
know, fast keep up with all of that stuff. So, do you have anything for the number five?
Well, on my end, in my experience, I found that fives or people with a lot of fives in their names, and we didn't even talk about the importance of the name, but sticking to the birthdays. Fives, I notice, are normally multifaceted, multi-talented, multidimensional. They normally do well in business, science, commerce, communications, import, export, the stock exchange, the literary field, the travel industry. And I noticed with people on the 5th, the 14th, the 23rd, or under Gemini or Virgo, it seemed like every 4.5 to 5 years, there's always some change in their career, the location, the job itself. And fives also, to me, tend to take whatever they learned in project A, and when they go to project B, they can take that skill over. So they tend to merge it. That's why I said they're multifaceted, multi-talented, multidimensional. So if you got a child in your school or a child with a lot of fives, and you say, what do you want to be? And they say, I don't know. That's because there's so many options that appears to be open to them that excites them.
And that's what I wanted to say too. In light of all of that, you know, the number five is probably the perfect person for this presentation because the number five probably has so many ideas in their head that they don't know exactly what to choose. And because you are a number five and you need to be free, you know, it might be a possibility that just one of these things may not work for you. You
Yeah.
know, there may be a couple of things that work for you.
And I noticed fives are writers. They're either good writers or public speakers too.
Yes, every five that I know, well, most of the fives that I know, they are excellent when it comes to grammar or any form of communication. It's like I can take something to them and say, can you edit this? And I get it back, and I know it's going to be 100% the way that I want it when they finish with it. So, yeah, number fives are gifted with that. Okay, number five.
Six.
Six. So, if you're born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th of the month, or come under Taurus or Libra, you are a number six. Now, this is something totally different.
Hmm.
These individuals are drawn to roles involving community, beauty, caregiving, or harmony. Their businesses often focus on home, health, education, or arts. So, some of the things that I chose for the number six is holistic healing, Reiki, massage, acupuncture, family or relationship coaching. With number six a lot of times get close to family. They believe in that strong family structure. So these people may be the best people to be into relationship coaching or family coaching or something like that, because their experience may serve or service someone else. Also, nonprofit organization, daycares, or they can also work in the beauty industry, beauty or skincare lines.
From my experience with sixes, they tend to do well in three areas. I call it. One is the arts, acting, musicianship, painters, designers, and then the other area is in the world of business, law, banking, real estate. But as I explained with sixes, ultimately their final aim is always about service, service to humanity, service to community. And they wind up being your teachers, your nurses, your counselors, your social workers, anywhere where they can give advice. And I noticed that twos and sixes have that in common, that people will always kind of come to them for should I do about this? And how can I get a person on the moon? I mean, they'd be asking questions beyond their pay grade, but they tend to kind of like be a sounding board for people of what they want to do. But normally that's what sixes tend to do: the arts, business, and social services of some kind, teachers, nurses, counselors, whatever, and healers too, and Reiki masters, as you mentioned too. I think that's good. This is interesting. This is interesting, the parallel between what I know about it and what you do. All right, seven. Okay, this number sounds familiar. Go right ahead.
Okay, this is the number seven. If you're born on the 7th, 16th, 25th, or come under the signs of Cancer and Pisces, you are a number seven. These individuals are intellectual, introspective, and spiritually inclined. They excel in research, education, psychology, tech, innovation, or metaphysical pursuits. Academic or online education platforms is one thing that I chose that you might find the seven doing. Psychology or coaching. And I want you to just shake your head. Yes. If no, no, raise your hand so I can see it clearly if any of these count. Okay. Academic or online education platforms.
Um, my experience with sevens, they are I call them the experts in the world of numbers. Whenever they find their passion or find their niche, almost always without question, there is no question they're the experts. They tend to be the best at what they do. I call them detectives. I call them researchers. I call them analysts. I call them investigators. They tend to go into the weeds. Fives and sevens tend to have a thing about curiosity. Fives seem to be curious just enough to know to say, okay, but as a seven, they always like to go down the rabbit hole about why did you say what you said? Why did you do what you do? And so it's in that part. And I've noticed too with people who are born on the 7th, the 16th, the 25th, or Pisces or Cancer, that if they're in a position and they don't know, they will definitely find out what the deal is. But they love to do homework, they love to read, and normally with fives and like sevens, they tend to have a lot of books around them or something like that. But especially sevens, if you got a seven, more than likely probably got a lot of books or magazines or read, especially in their field of interest.
I didn't read the list.
Oh, go right ahead.
I wanted you to raise your hand
I
after
did.
each one. No, after each one that sounds like you. You tried to get out of the question. I see what this is. Academic or online education platforms. That's yes.
Yeah.
Psychology or coaching.
Yes.
Metaphysical services, astrology, numerology,
Yes. Yes.
writing or academic publishing,
Yes.
documentary, film, and nonfiction storytelling.
Not there yet.
Okay. So everybody make sure that you check, let us know which ones that we talked about today that relates to you. But another thing I want to say about number 7 before I move on, saying fascinated with the number 7. And the reason why is because of the planet Neptune. And so there's one other thing that I would like to add up here. If you are a number 7, and maybe even a number 2, then you might find yourself behind the camera somewhere in Hollywood. You might find yourself being a musician. This is all Neptunian. So those are a few extra things that can go along with the number 7 too. And we're going to go on to the number 8. If you're born on the 8th, the 17th, the 26th, or come under the sign of Capricorn, these people are ambitious and results driven. They are naturally suited for finance, leadership, luxury brands, and high level enterprise. Some of the things I picked out for the number 8 are financial services or investment firms, luxury goods or high end fashion, brand strategy or rebranding agency, real estate. De- um, Real estate development and corporate consulting. Do you have anything extra to add to the 8?
Well, 8, since it is symbolic of money, power, authority, normally these are the people who are your executives, your CEOs, heads of banks and businesses. And 8, like 6, is an earth number. So they tend to do well in real estate. They tend to do well in banking and things of that nature. Since they're very conservative, they are also very good business managers or financial planners or things of that nature. Um, but at some point, they normally hold some kind of authority over others, and and 8 is a financial number. In fact, the Wall Street Journal was founded. I mean, the stock exchange was founded on the 17th, and all they deal with is paper, which is in the form of stocks, which is has money potentials and things of that nature. But they normally hold some positions that rank some kind of respect as a rule, definitely.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the 9, and I have to reveal something, right? I think the number 9 is about to be one of my other favorite numbers too. I kind of like the number 9. So if you're born on the 9th, the 18th, the 27th, or come under the sign of Aries or Scorpio, which makes sense because I am Leo in a minor way.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
you are a number 9. These individuals are humanitarian in nature. I know a lot of times people hear about the worst in number 9, but we're going to talk about the best in number 9 today. They are often drawn to global causes, healing professions, public speaking, or artistic expression with a mission. These are some of the careers or business choices that I chose for the number 9: nonprofit and philanthropic organizations, public speaking or advocacy, healing arts, Reiki, energy work, therapy, or trauma informed services. And some of you may be wondering what a trauma informed service is. A lot of times when we go through things in life, we go through it. So we go through it and we learn something that we can teach somebody else. So what happens with the number 9? When I like the number 9 because it's a transformative number, and so that's what's happening here. Trauma informed services. Clients come in that have been through some type of trauma in their lives. And this number 9 person would automatically be in the business of, I've been through this before. I'm going to use my skills and what I've been through to help other people. So they can take what was a trauma in their life and help other people transform through traumas that they have been. So those are like trauma informed services, knowing the trauma that they've been through and being able to transform them so that they can grow out of those things or grow to another level. And also cultural diplomacy or international relations. I think we need a little bit of that these days. Where's our number 9s at?
And you know what's so amazing? This is a number 9 year, which is governed by Mars, which is a war planet. And they got all this drama going on, war. But as a career, I noticed that 9s tend to do well in the military, law enforcement, construction, or they tend to do well in any profession where they wear a uniform and handle tools, machines, and instruments. And this could be surgeons that handle scalpels as well. You see, they are global, they're universal, they're international, they're inspirational and motivational, and they tend to bring out the best in people. And by the way, when Miss Kimbaley was giving the date of birth and the zodiac signs, this applies to whether your moon is in the sign of Scorpio or your ascendant is in the sign of Aries. So it's not just, so for those of you who know over and above your sun sign, if you know your moon, which is dealing with your mindset, your ascendant that deals with your appearance as well as the zodiac sign. So this is our way of trying to touch all the bases. And this is what makes for that variation. That's like throwing a lot of things into the mix. Okay. Go right ahead.
Okay, so we're going to move into the master numbers. We're going to do the number 11 and the 22. So if you're born on the 11th or the 29th or come on, or your sun, moon, or ascendant is in Leo or Aquarius, these individuals possess heightened intuition and visionary leadership. They are here to uplift and inspire. Ideal businesses include spiritual coaching, creative arts, media, or visionary nonprofits. Some of the businesses or careers they may get into are art, photography, or design with symbolic depth, visionary media, films, books, podcasts, energy healing, or intuitive guidance. Uh, can you read the last two for me,
Yes,
Lloyd?
it says spiritual life coaching or mentorship or conscious branding or marketing.
Thank you.
Yes, and from my end, the master number 11, they try, I say that they get ideas from on high. You know how you watching on TV and in the middle of the night, about 5 o'clock in the morning, they come up with this great invention, and the person say, "How come I didn't think of that?" Well, that to me reminds me of 11. Simple things that goes past. It's so commonsensical once it's developed, but they are the ones who come up with these bright ideas, these visionary concepts, which is why 11 is considered one of the visionary numbers. They are able to kind of see beyond what is presently in front of them and what's beyond the five senses. So I think these are very good. That's why they're designers, visionaries, things of that nature. And they always seem to be ahead of the curve, too. And in fact, I think Thomas Edison was born on the 11th, was known to discover lights, things of that nature. So, and then there are other people too, but that is the point. So for those of you who are born on the 11th or the 29th or under the signs of this Aquarius or Leo, Leo goes first because there's only two master numbers that only govern two signs, and 11 governs Leo and 22 governs Aquarius. But And I guess these are the two most outstanding signs in the zodiac. Nothing personal with the rest, but these are the ones that tend to stand out the most. But yes, spiritual counseling, coaching, healing, and the Reiki masters. Also, they also very conscious about their dietary laws too, taking it to the next level of having some spiritual connection with it. And they'll go on long fasts, like 3 or 4 days of fasting and stuff of that nature. Mm.
I would also say too, musician, and also maybe even film too. Because if you break that 11 down to a two and just live it, because you can live as the master number 11, or you can take the base number, the number two. You can also look back to the number two and see some of the things that the number two can do, and it would also apply here for the number 11. So, music, writing. I don't know if yeah, books is up here. Yeah, but music, film, things like that will also apply here, in my opinion.
And save the
And
best for last.
yay, the 22.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're born on the 22nd, or if you come under the signs of Aquarius and Leo, those born on the 22nd are strategic, disciplined dreamers. They're dreamers, but hey, they're disciplined about it.
Yeah.
They are capable of building enterprises that serve humanity on a large scale. So some of the five that I chose here are tech startups with scalable impact, international business consultant, global nonprofit or humanitarian organizations, philanthropic ventures with strategic execution, holistic health networks, and I will also say with the number 22, you can also look to the number 4, and also look back to the number 1 as well, because number 1 is an interchangeable number to the number 4, and this will give you a long list really of this. So that's like 15 career choices or
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
business choices if you look back over the 22. So the important thing for the 22 is to remember that you need a strategy. You have to be disciplined and you have to be a hard worker. That's number 4, 22. Okay. Do you have anything for?
Yep. 22, in addition, is referred to as the master builder in the sense that where 11 comes up with the concepts, the master number 22 takes those concepts and ideas and transformed into things that are more concrete, more tangible, where you can kind of touch and examine it with your eyes and touch it with your hands and whatnot. And it makes me think of Kathy Hughes of Radio One, who was born on the 22nd. She has Radio One, and then she's got, I think, TV One and all that stuff. And she started out, she owns radio stations all up and down. Then I think of James Patterson, the famous writer who was born on the 22nd, where his main actor um, is always expressing himself, and he's an excellent writer. Then there's Leonard Nimoy, born on the 22nd. I mean, there's a whole lot. And then there's Miss Kimbaley, born on the 22nd. It's just a lot of other people. That's all. But they love to be different. And they are the ones who also do well in the mechanical, mathematical sciences, technology, engineering, computers, things of that nature. And they like to think outside the box. That is one of the traits about a master number 22. So if any of these fit you, fine. And we're getting it's amazing. It's I thought we was about a half hour in, we're almost an hour in. But let me ask you this before we do. You offer a so we finished with this one?
Yes.
Okay. um you also do something very unique that I talk about. Oh, this is what Shonda says. I'm a 4, but this 22 job interests me. But that makes sense because 2 plus 2 is 4 when reduced. And that simply means she is just functioning on a very higher level with that. Okay. Um, the one thing you
Hi,
offering,
Queen.
huh?
Oh, I'm just speaking to people. I didn't get a chance to speak to people
Yeah.
today.
And Empress Well,
Hi, Empress. Well, oh,
she
she's a master 22.
she's born
Yay.
on the 31st, but she's under the sign of Aquarius, which is the master number sign. And Mode 369 says, thank you both building my side hustle into a business and leave the 9 to 5 that I love because I'm helping people in the public service, but going to do it on my own terms. Yes, that makes sense.
Hello, you can do it. You got this. You got it.
And they did say yes, the 2 best signs are Leo and Aquarius. I must concur. I happen to be an Aquarius. You happen to be a Leo. It's okay. It's okay. But let me say this too. I found that no matter what sign, you're very, very special. That regardless, just as I can point out things that are great for our 2 signs, every other sign in the zodiac, every number in the number scope have their own uniqueness, their own experience. And so the whole thing is because you may not be one of our signs, that don't mean you're not good in your sign too. And so part of the problem or the challenge is we're so busy looking in everybody else's backyard. We need to look in our own backyard to find our greatness. And not only that, you could maybe not be an Aquarius or a Leo like Miss Kimbaley and I, but you may have a Leo name or an Aquarius name. And that's
Not
a
only
whole
that,
other thing, huh?
I was thinking too, not only that, we are composed of many numbers.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah.
look at Michael Jackson, Michael's name is 22. Jackson is 22. Okay. So he performed on a high level. And for all you other Michael Jacksons out here walking the planet, understand your potential greatness too. That's all. But you're also offering a consultation, complimentary consultation. Can you tell us about that as we wrap this up?
Yes, because a lot of people haven't heard of business astronumerology. I offer a 30-minute consultation on my site, Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. And what I do in that 30-minute site is I find out more about you and your business and what your goals are for your business. And I let you know what exactly business astronumerology is and how it can help you. That's what I do in the 30-minute that's how I do in the 30-minute consultation. And if you pull up the slides again, I just have the QR code on that last slide so
Let me
that
take
if
the time to
somebody
walk.
want to check out that consultation, then they can check it out. And
So again, she was saying the QR code in the center, either take a screenshot or take a picture with your camera and then later on and go. Because this QR code does what again?
okay, the QR code will take you straight to that service. And the website, if you can't use the QR code, the website is underneath Kimbaley.com. And all you would have to do is go to book online and look on the astronumerology, and you will see the 30-minute consultation. And that would be a complimentary consultation.
All right, good, good. Now, let me just run through the comments section for 1 minute. Okay. Lakeisha Williams says, I came in late. Did she do the 2 already? Yes, she did. But you can see the repeat later on. Just go to YouTube, Numbers in You, and you can get to see it. So that's funny.
And
Okay.
I don't know if I said it, but the number twos can take a look at the number seven stuff too, and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. And Asante Sana says this was a great show.
Hi,
And
Teresa.
she says, I'll watch it later. Okay, let me just go
Hi,
through
Lakeisha.
some of the things right quick. This person says Michael Jackson is my forever husband. from my hometown, Gary, Indiana, and they are a February Aquarius. Yes, yes, there's a difference between a January Aquarius and a February Aquarius. Maybe one day I'll talk about that. Then again, this is all the information for Miss Kimbaley, how to get in touch with her. I will put the QR code up one more time.
Thank you, Empress Rail.
It says nobody wants to read me, but it lets me give me shots anyway. It's not that we didn't want to read you, goddess. Really, I would need more time, but you are a Sagittarius 3 person, got a lot of threes. You were born in 76, which is very interesting. But it just tells me you're very creative. That's what it means to me. And threes are very talkative, by the way. So that's one of their traits. They can talk themselves in and out of situations. Um, okay, let's see what they got here. Okay, press. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Sister Oracle, love the presentation. I love your reading too, Les.
Thank you. Hi, Sister Oracle.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And yes, Shonda, you're right. Every single sign is unique.
Yeah.
It's interesting. When it's cold, we want it hot. When it's hot, we want it cold. When we're tall, we want to be short. When we short, is I don't know whether it's just human nature or whatever the case is, but regardless of your sign, every single sign from covering the months of January to December, every number from 1 to 9, including the master numbers of 11 and 22, all have their unique place in the scheme of things. So please don't say, oh, well, these two, they got the best sign and so. No pity parties up in here. This is Alive with Lloyd family, please, okay? You make sure that you acknowledge who you are and acknowledge your greatness, because you can't be nobody else. Once you realize that and deal with that, then you can move forward, okay? Well, all of you are just as special. Okay, Empress Rel says Aquarius rule. She must be Aquarius. Okay, that's how I take it. All right. Let me just see. This is in case somebody made a donation. Okay. I think this is about it. Miss Kimberly, I do want to thank you so much for doing
You're
this.
welcome.
And Mo says, oh, let me see something. Mo said you were spot on about something. Okay. So anyway, let's see, building the business. So Mo said, so anyway, I do want to thank all of you. Oh, this is it, where he says, you are spot on, Kimberly. I was born on the 9th. See, to me, when I hear this, and it makes sense, he's out of the country because he puts the date first, then the month, and he says he was born in Dakar, Senegal. Okay, born under master number 11. I am speaking coach and going into consulting business as a sales entrepreneur. Fit him. So for those of you out there in the Live with Lloyd family who want to start a business or not sure what kind of business you should go into, but want to get something, at least step out on faith and do something on your own, please consult Miss Kimberly. And please go right here. Let me get this off the screen, this banner. Here a second. Okay, and get the comment off. And please pick on the QR code, and that way you can get it. It's a complimentary consultation. It don't mean she's gonna talk all day. It ain't about that kind of party. She's got work to do. She's busy. All right, because my brothers and sisters are something else. Okay, I'm keeping it real. Okay, real talk, as they say. All right. So when you get there, it's complimentary. She has a limited time. She has a hourglass. No, she don't have no hourglass. But the point is, y'all can't take up all her time. All right, the woman's busy. All right, so y'all just show a little respect when y'all go up there, because I know my brothers and my sisters. God bless you, especially you talkative ones who shall be nameless. But
It's funny, when I first came on, I almost asked you, how was your June?
June was well. This month is almost over. This has been an interesting month. And by the way, Miss Kimberly and I, we do the monthly forecast each month. And at some point, we're going to be presenting the July forecast. Has been something, in fact, this will make our 19th consistent session of doing this. And it all started with, it's all her fault. I was minding my business. And she says, what we do this. And it also improved my newsletter. So it's really did a lot. And I thank her. And I thank all of you and your responses, because it's your responses that made me add the almanac and other things that has been now a main feature of the monthly forecast each month. And the newsletters are free. And if you want to see them, they are free too. But this is where you go. And again, please click on this in order to see it. Let me put this up here. Whoops. And please click on the QR code to make sure that you get your complimentary consultation. But it ain't gonna be all day. Okay. I'm just telling you straight up. The woman's busy. Okay. So anyway, Miss Kimberly, I thank you very, very much for joining us. Hold up, let me get this off. I thank you very, very much. This is where you do, and please support her in her work too. Her Cash App is $ Kimbaley, and that's Kimbaley Williams. Okay. She is a metaphysician. She's a business astro-numerologist. This is the first I've heard of doing that. And so I thank her very, very much. And you go to her site, Kimbaley.com, Kimbaley.com. And her email is at concernconnect@Kimbaley.com. Any last departing words, young lady?
Yes, I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up tonight to view this video or to view this live. Thank you so much for attending, and those of you who follow us for the monthly forecast, thank you for following us along there. It means so much, and I want to let all of you know that the God in me loves the God in you.
Well, speaking of loving the garden, somebody just gave a donation, so we got to deal with them. They said they started a business 1 year ago. 4 is in my business name, but it is unlucky in my. But is it unlucky in my chart? Should I add the entire name of my biz with 4, or does it more? They were born on February the 1st of '88. Well, 4 shouldn't be bad, and my business is a recipe for astrology. Okay. First of all, thanks for the donation. You are an Aquarius 1. And so, yes, the Aquarius normally fits in the metaphysical realm of astrology, numerology, new age, things of that nature. And then there's one which is the leadership. So I can understand you wanting to go into business, but I don't see. Well, here's what Miss Kimberly is more of the business consultant. So you need to go to her website or click on the QR code that was mentioned and take advantage of her consultation, where she can do it in a way that's very professional. But I do want to thank you very, very much for the donations.
I have a quick answer.
Good.
Um, if you mean that four, okay, the business name is Recipe Four. No, you will have to take into account the entire spelling of the name. Yes, four will add into that spelling, but the entire name is Recipe for Astrology. So it's going to, that four, even though you see it there, there's many other letters that go with that, and you should total out the whole name, the entire name with that
Preferably
four.
under the Chaldean system too.
Yes, under the Chaldean system.
And I like it, the True Aquarian Recipe for Astrology.
Hmm.
Just the title of it, that gives it
That's
that.
very Aquarius.
Yes, 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 yes. By the way, your numbers, your key numbers are the 1, 4, and 9. So these are written. So Sunday and Tuesday and Wednesdays are your best days, like today. Okay. Let me see one else. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody who
Oh, so four. How is four unlucky in the chart?
well, this is what they were saying. Let me go back to this a second. And they are saying But is it, they ask a question, is it unlucky in their chart? And no is the answer to the question, because that's your second number. Your key numbers in the proper order are the 1, the 4, and the 9. It's like unlocking a safe if you don't dial it right. And three-way numbers are played 6 different ways in the streets, as they call it. So if you do it 1, 4, 9, and you got it. So it's not unlucky at all. And the fact that you even included it in the business recipe for astrology, I think that speaks for itself. It's interesting. And you're
Yeah.
born in 88. So that's the year of the 1988 is the year of the 8, 9, 10, 11. I think you might even be a master number 11, which has a Leo Aquarius energy also. So this tells me if that's the case numerically, you are certainly in alignment. Aquarius nuts. Nuts about Aquarius. Okay, good, good, good. I thank you very much. Miss Kimberly, thank you very much joining us. Are you working on a project? We're going to bring that back in August, um, and we'll see how that's coming along. All right, but I do want to thank you. And everybody, I want to thank everybody. Hold on, let me see. Okay. I do want to thank all of you very much for joining us this evening. Enjoying with Miss Kimberly. I hope for those of you who have a business that you do take full advantage of it. And my sponsors is um, King Simon, who is having a 3-part session. So go to his Patreon page where he does it exclusively. And then also Queen B. Now, Queen B is having a couple of things. One is that her charts have been reduced, so she has a summer sale, and she goes into details, and she's giving this away practically for nothing. This is her summer sale, so y'all better take advantage of it. I think it expires somewhere in July, so don't y'all be fooling around. And tomorrow on her show, she's gonna have my buddy Big E, brother Eric, okay? And he's called, well, her show is Numbers Matter. His is called Astrology Matters. It should there be any other way, it should be knowing Eric. So I do appreciate that. And of course, Uchenna, who will be on this coming Monday. And he's not going to be talking about his juice, but a book he's written that's going to be published soon, where he comes up with a whole different concept in the world of numerology. I've never seen it before, but it is fascinating. And also Nicholas Brooklyn at 1396. And of course, I want to thank my sponsor, Miss Kimberly. And by the way, for those of you, but if you didn't get the code, the QR code, this is where you go for the this is where you go to get a consultation that's complimentary. Just go to KIMBALEY.com. And also Miss Jazz Aphrodite, who is establishing a numerology mastery institute that's coming up in August. All righty. And again, we want to say on this day and honor the great Michael Jackson, a gentle giant in every sense of the word, a man of a gentle spirit. They tried to drag him through the mud, accuse him of this and that, and everybody said no, he do none of that. 10 years of FBI investigations, and it was on June the 22nd, earlier this month, that he was exonerated after 10 years and all those accusations. And even though certain agencies tried to instigate to put them up to saying he did this or that, such hatred. But, you know, he comes from the side of truth. And probably why to this day, after 16 years, he is still loved and respected everywhere he goes in terms of his music. But this will be my guest on Monday. And for those of you who want to get the June newsletter, it is absolutely free. Just go to Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. And we do not sell your mailing list. And also for those who may want to see the audio version, just go to YouTube, Kimbaley _ KIMBALEY _ and this way you can actually hear it if you don't want to read it. But anyway, I do want to thank you. Have a great, great weekend. I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Okay? Have a great, great day. Let's see here. And by the way, any questions you have, I'll take note. And I'm going to review some of those that I may have missed. And if anybody did do any donations, I'll make sure I acknowledge it on Monday. Okay. Have a blessed day.